Now I would like us to pray together. I would like us to commit this particular session to God. I will be telling you why we cannot go without God in teaching profession. By the time I explain to you, you will know now that you are doing a great work and we need the grace and the power of God to do it well. Shall we pray? Our Father, we thank you for this opportunity of being teachers. Thank you for no man on earth has become anything without the hand of a teacher. Our nation has no hope without the ministry of teachers. All that we see today are either the impartation of teachers or their omission. We are faced with a very big challenge of touching lives that their future is bound but in our hands. Please undertake for us. As we go on with this training, we ask that your Spirit, who himself is the teacher, you will come and impart our lives, so that one after the other will have an experience that will transform first our own selves before we begin to talk about transforming our students. Thank you for hearing our prayer, for we have asked in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Right. I will do with this now so I can go on. Yes, sir. I want to introduce to you what I call the tripod. Effective teaching. The tripod. Now, I want you to picture a tripod. A tripod is a three-legged object who has equal legs positioned at equal angles so as to give stability. And once you talk about tripod, that means you're going to be dealing with 3 dimensions for effective teaching. You will know that in educational principles, we're actually on a tripod. You will notice that for any effective teaching, you must deal with the cognitive, domain. You deal with the affective, domain. And then you come to deal with the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domains. There are 3 that must never be ignored, both in teaching and in training of teachers. Whenever any of these is deficient, there's going to be a wobbling, there's going to be an imbalance. And for every time you go to teach, before you can be an effective teacher yourself, these three areas has to be sufficiently present in every teacher who will be effective. His cognitive domain, his affective domain, and his psychomotor domain. Now, these three, they must be concurrent because they are three distinctive domains, but they are indivisible. It is not possible to separate this from this from this. They must come together. That's why they're tripod. And in every effective teacher training or teacher preparation, we've got to take note of these three. And I will explain what each of them will represent, while I will focus on what I can deal with for now, while we go on later on. Now, the cognitive domain, is the domain that deals with what we call cognition. It deals with your intellectualism. It deals with your capacity to capture information intellectually. And because the teacher, by calling, is supposed to be the one who transmits knowledge to students who we're expecting will engage that knowledge for effective change of behavior and of action in the future. The teacher, by all means, as of a necessity, must have sufficient cognition of what he wants to teach. Is that okay? You cannot give what you don't have. I know you know that general statement. A man can give what he has, but he cannot give what he does not have. Is that okay? So the cognitive domain of a teacher is a prerequisite domain for him to teach at all. If you have never done mathematics, can they make you a mathematics teacher? Is it possible? No. Why? Because you don't have any cognitive capacity of that subject. Isn't it? Now, can I remind you that, and if your cognitive of a subject is less than the cognitive of your student in that subject, who is the teacher? The student. So you see the pressure that comes upon us as teachers. Before you can be an effective teacher, you must continue to increase your cognitive domain so that you can be far ahead of the people you want to teach. Are we together? If suddenly you discover that you are going to teach a class and your experience of that particular subject that you want to teach, you don't have it. Do you walk confidently to the class to teach as a teacher? No. You are afraid because one student can pull up one question there. And you are the one that says, so you will usually avoid it. So one of the pressure that the teacher is under is the need to constantly update himself, to constantly increase his cognitive capacity, and to constantly be in a firm grip of all the multifarious dimension of increasing knowledge of the area of subject that he has been called to teach. So the cognitive domain. And I tell you, that's the reason why the Ministry of Education is insisting that you must go for continuous refresher training so that your brain does not get corroded, so that your head can remain sharp. Because if you are not sharp upstairs, there's nothing to do. You will only be a ridicule and a shadow of who you are supposed to be. That's the first critical type, the cognitive domain, the constant desire to equip yourself to get to know what is it that I'm supposed to present. Even if your students were these present children, kindergarten, my God, I have become afraid of small children now, what they know. How many of you have one of these new Android phones? Let me see your hand up. You have an Android phone. And you have a child, you have a baby. Your baby is just about 8 years of age. Just 4. You see that now. My God, those children, they have known everything inside that phone. I can imagine that you only use the phone to make a call and to send text. And you see your small child say, "Mom, give me that phone, you are wasting it. You don't know how to use it." And you are surprised the amount of things that child already knows. That puts what I call the cognitive pressure on the modern day teacher. Gone are the days when what you used to know when you went to teacher training college in 1980 and in 1972 is still relevant. Gone are those days. If you are not trained and retrained and retrained and retrained and retrained, you will soon become outdated in your profession. So the cognitive domain of the teacher is a tripod that has to be attended regularly. It has to be updated. It has to be strengthened. It has to be developed. And it has to be current. Current because knowledge is not static. Knowledge is dynamic. Actually, according to the word of God, say in the end time, knowledge shall increase. Knowledge is expanding very fast. And so to be a teacher that is current and effective, this first leg of the tripod has to be active. It has to be engaging. It has to be increasing. And it has to be relevant. It's not enough just to know something. It is important to know what is relevant. There are many things you used to know that as of today is of no use. You used to know it, but they are not useful again. So you are going to have to retrain and relearn. And you know what the Ministry of Education is struggling to do? They can't send all of you back to school. Are you hearing me? At once. They can't. You are too old. So what they have decided is that let's look for something that you will be doing that will be engaging you, engaging your head, and keeping your head both warm and not cold. Tell somebody, make sure your head is not cold. Don't get a frozen head. All right, thank you. Now, but can I go ahead to note that cognitive domain is important, but it does not stand alone. There is another domain that is always generally omitted in teacher training. I call it the affective domain. What is the affective domain? The word affective derives from affection. And if any of you will help me to define what is affection? What's affection? Can somebody attend? What's the meaning of the word affection? Yes? Your feelings? Yes? Is affection only feelings? No. Feeling is only an expression of affection if it is positive. Yes, ma'am? I thought you want to help us. Your emotion. Yes, your general emotion. Right? Thank you. We are catching it. I said this class will be interactive. I'm not giving a lecture, so we are talking. So yes, brother, your desire, yes, your desire. These are all you are using right word. Feelings, emotion, desires. Yes, any other word that can give light to what we call affection. You know, sometimes you said yours affectionately. When you were writing letter to that young girl before you got married, you remember you used to write something and said, you know, with very much affection. Yes, sir. Your attitude. Yes, attitude. Attitude has to be part of affecting. Any other word? Yes, ma'am. Your passion. Yeah, your passion. How passionate you are. This is good. Any other word? You are all help. Yes, ma'am. Feeling or caring. Good. Feeling or caring. Very good. Any other word? Yes, I see a hand at the very back. Jump up and say it loud. Yes, sir. Charisma. Okay? Alright, thank you. Now, you will notice that all the words that we have used to describe affection, they are words that are intangible. They are things that you cannot bring out. They are not concrete. They are not discrete. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are innate. They are inside. They are real, but they are not accessible outside. So it has to do with the heart. It has to do with the state of heart, your mind. What makes you do what you are doing? What makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? What makes you excited? What motivates you or discourages you? What is it that makes you to want to do something? And what is it that makes you lose interest? Now, all of this, they are in the domain of the affective. So, can I find a question quickly? Is there any teacher that does not have something that worries, or something that disturbs, or something that encourages and releases and exciting? Is there a teacher that has no feeling? You have never seen one. You've never seen one. Now, can I also ask a question? Please, we are doing somewhere, we are interacting, and I want you to be part of it because it's very important. I am a teacher by every means. And one of my teaching strategy is to engage my class, to make sure that everybody is actively involved and participating. Is that okay? So please allow us to do together. Now let me ask you. Please be honest with me. Let's imagine that when you are preparing to go to school today, you have prepared your lesson. Your lesson note is already ready, everything is set. But as you are about to enter the class, you got a phone call. And in this phone call, your only son had an accident and is critically ill in the hospital. And he quickly went to the principal and said, "Sir, there's an emergency for my son, the only son." And the principal looked at her and said, "Look, madam, this is school hour. This is school hour. Go back and finish your lesson first. During break, you can go." Please talk to me now. What is going to happen? Did you know now that something has not affected your brain? You still have enough knowledge of the subject. Your note of lesson is perfect. It's still wonderful. But as the principal said, go back to that class and make sure you teach. After that, you can go on break and meet your son wherever he is. How will that class run that day? Chaos. If any child say, "Excuse me, I have a question," how do you answer the question? Get away! No time for question here. Now, is the problem with the student that wanted to ask question? Where is the problem? Me. Something inside is not there. Now, can I tell you the truth? Many times we emphasize the teaching of a teacher and we do not invest in the feelings, in the emotion, in the affection of the teacher. Have you noticed that? For example, if we go for a meeting, maybe a function, and people are introducing themselves, somebody stands and says, I am Engineer Charles Lance. What did everybody do? They gave him a round of applause. Another said, I am a doctor, consultant, gynecologist in the specialist hospital. How did everybody look at him? They all look at him. If a politician comes in and he is maybe the mayor, everybody stand up and appreciate him. When a teacher comes in, what do they do to him? I said, well, let's just welcome Mr. That's all. To such a point that the teacher is quietly battling in his heart to see worth it to spend all my life in the classroom. Whenever salaries are to be paid, doctor's salary is a priority, so that they will not, because patients are generally impatient, isn't it? And that you have to deal with them. But if there's any salary cut, which one do they consider to cut down first? The teachers. Why is it like that? Because the trainer of teachers, the employers of teachers, they never expect that there's something that affects the teacher. So the affecting domain is anything that affects, are you understanding? That affects the teacher himself as a person. That thing that either releases the teacher or dismisses him from what he was called to do. The affecting domain. Now, may I say to you that even though the affecting domain does not get serious emphasis in our training, the truth of the matter is that it is the seat, it is the pivot of teachers' performance. A teacher who is not motivated in his heart, who is not affectionate about what he's doing, who does not have hope of what teaching is going to fetch for him, it can only be a disgruntled teacher. It will be a teacher in a hurry. He will be rushing to get out of it. And you will only see teaching as something to pass and go. So whenever you meet somebody who has been a teacher maybe for 5 years, you ask him, say, how now? He say, well, I'm looking for something better. Because the teacher man, his affecting domain has been disaffected so much that this aspect of his life has not been taken care of. So he comes to the class struggling with it. He looks at the children, he wonders, what is my hope in this one? What do I get here? And sometimes parents they come in, and they come with an attitude of importance.